Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning. Yes. Good morning, everyone. Actually, there was some audio issue. We have corrected it. Chaliye. I hope I'm audible and clearly visible to everyone, online people. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
पता नहीं क्यों तो हाची ਨੂੰ देख के नहीं आती हैगी
चलिए कोई नहीं. प्रधानमंत्री अनुसूचित जाति पता नहीं अभ्युदय योजना, PM Ajay. So in this we will try to understand India's efforts, particularly with respect to bringing tribal community. In this case, Anusuchit means scheduled caste. We already know why they are called scheduled caste. Who coined this term? Britishers. SC was a term coined by the Britishers. Scheduled caste. We call them Dalit. It is a revolutionary term preferred by Ambedkar. He also preferred the term depressed class. He liked the term Dalit and depressed class. Harijan was a term emphasized by Gandhi. Gandhi used to emphasize this term Harijan. Ambedkar disliked this term. He was like, what we are, we should acknowledge it first, then we can advocate change. If euphemism will not work. We are depressed class and we are Dalits. So he did not like this term very much, but doesn't matter. Okay? Gandhi prevailed everywhere. So Pradhan Mantri Anusuchit Jati Abhyudaya Yojana. So I have told you there are some important schemes that government launched. As the government launch everyday new schemes, but some of them are important. So what you do is, I've told you, go to president's speech. Every year president gives a speech to the parliament in starting of the budget session. So just go through it. You will get to know which scheme government considers important, and whichever schemes are mentioned in that speech, because president does not give details. They only say we have launched this scheme, we have launched this scheme, and we consider them very important. My government is making efforts on this. So all you have to do is, once you know the name, Google it. What is the scheme? What are the components? What are the limitations? What are some analysis? And then what could be done? These few parameters you must know about the scheme mentioned in president's speech, the economic survey, and the budget itself. Because there are numerous schemes, you do not know which is important, which is not. So this is a very good source to know what government considers important. And UPSC is nothing more than government's HR department. What government considers important, so does UPSC considers important. Clear this much? So first scheme we are discussing this. In the current financial year, around 1260 villages, number is not important, became Adarsh Gram. This was launched earlier by the Modi government. Adarsh Gram. The logic was to create developed villages basically. You can say it is the rural component of urban yojanas. For example, Smart City and Amrit. Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, which is a rebranding of Januram. Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewable Mission. You have seen that on buses. Even in Delhi, you have DTC buses. Some buses on the back side it is written Januram. Those buses were procured under Januram program. The program was to uplift India's urban landscape to basic necessities, because there is a problem with government programs. Urbanization started by private people. Developers come, they start developing buildings and everything, they create societies, but there is no proper infrastructure. There is no water, there is no electricity, there is no road. You can see that in Noida. Noida is highly urbanized. You see lavish communities, gated communities we call them. Once you enter them, it's a different world. As soon as you come outside of the gate, there is a broken road. कई बार होता भी नहीं है. So this shows that private effort has gone good, government is lacking somewhere. So what we should do is, government should identify an area first, provide basic services like road, water, electricity, then people should settle. This is called planned urbanization. Very good example, Chandigarh. That's how Chandigarh was born, and New Delhi was also born in the same manner. Uske baad remaining of the Delhi except New Delhi was born haphazardly. People came on coming there, settled there, then government remembers, oh, I have to provide water also. So आपने देखा ना, they construct a road, then they dig the road, there's a water line, then again construct the road, then dig the road, there's some sewer line or something. So this is not planned urbanization, this is haphazard. So that was your urban component. The rural component is known as Adarsh Gram. Clear this much? So Adarsh Gram, the 9 hostels were approved for the construction under Pradhan Mantri Anusuchit Jati Abhudyaya whatever Yojana. Simply PM Ajay. Clear this much? The objectives here. Let's see what are the component. Everyone remember, it is a centrally sponsored, and we know central sector schemes and centrally sponsored schemes. There are 2 types. Central sector schemes in which the union government provides all the revenue. The states are not under compulsion to contribute. They want, they can, but they are not under compulsion. Centrally sponsored, the word here is sponsored. In this, union provide a part, states provide a part, then the scheme is run. We know the problem with central sector scheme. It forces the state government to contribute to the union scheme, which erodes their space for their own scheme. That one problem state resent, but nonetheless, this is what we have. It has 2 components, Pradhan Mantri Adarsh Gram Yojana. I told you it was launched earlier. Now it has been subsumed under PM Ajay. It was earlier an independent scheme. Now it is a sub-component of PM Ajay. Next is Special Central Assistance to Scheduled Caste Subplan. What is this Scheduled Caste Subplan? If you remember something about from economics, we discussed like a pre-budget consultation, women budgeting, outcome budgeting. Similarly, you have whenever government has an overall scheme. मान लेते government decides to provide water. So in that they allocate a dedicated component for scheduled caste under the overall objective. मान लेते government is deciding to spend 100 crore rupees. So in that 20 crore rupees they will exclusively dedicate to the scheduled caste. Maybe 10 crore rupees to scheduled tribes. Some amount dedicated exclusively to women. Under the overall objective of the scheme, special components are made for different communities. For different communities, that is called sub-plan. So now under this scheme PM Ajay, the Adarsh Gram Yojana is a sub-component. Even central assistance to scheduled caste sub-plan is also a component of it. The third component is Babu Jagjeevan Ram Chhatravas Yojana, basically hostel program. Chhatravas basically means hostel. So there are 3 components. Everyone must remember there are 3 components of PM Ajay. Next, this integrated scheme bringing all of these schemes under one umbrella. They are trying to uplift the scheduled caste communities by generating additional employment opportunities through skill development, income generation project, and other various initiatives. Means we will try to impart them skills, we will try to provide them jobs, we will try to build hostels for them, we will try to build Eklavya model schools also. Eklavya, if you remember from Mahabharata, Eklavya, who was a talented person, could not get the education from Acharya Drona because he was from a lower caste. But the main reason was not this. Main reason was because Drona wanted Arjun to become the best, and he was of the opinion, if I give assistance to Eklavya, who is otherwise talented, then he may compete with Arjun. But nonetheless, he got the education by observing him. Then he has to pay the price. The price was the thumb. उस समय में respect होती थी teacher की, आज का नहीं पता. So he had to pay the price via thumb. And why Drona took his thumb? For only one reason, so that he does not become a better archer than Arjun. It was all done for Arjun. So ठीक है, I always told you, if you're successful, does not mean you are only talented person on earth. You had some factors that were working for you. Clear? So on his basically name, we had something called Eklavya model residential schools. Because the biggest problem tribals and the scheduled caste suffers, they often do not have a place to stay. Even if you provide them education, जैसे you have Navodaya Vidyalayas. They are also residential schools, Jawaharlal Navodaya Vidyalayas. कब तक रहेंगे जवाहरलाल पता नहीं, but Navodaya will remain. Same for, especially for scheduled caste and tribe, you had Eklavya schools. Clear this much? These all are to uplift them. So वही project है, hostels, schools, employment generation, everything will be done under this scheme. And which is the ministry, nodal ministry? Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Okay, you must remember this, which ministry control which scheme. Sometimes they confuse you. So key objective, as you can see, reducing poverty. And I told you earlier also, caste always plays a factor. The way your religion, the way your gender plays a factors in your ultimate success. What you will become, hard work is always a component, but remaining factors decide. You may become an IAS, but would you get powers? You may become an IAS, you will be promoted, but would you get powers will depend upon what is your caste, what is your religion, what is your gender. That determines a lot of things. And socialization is a very important component. So majority of communities, particularly SC, they may not suffer from untouchability that was practiced before independence, but they still suffer from biases. और आपको पता ही, I have told you earlier also, out of all the secretaries to government of India, I think less than 5 or 6 are from lower communities. बाकी सारे कौन हैं? Upper caste, or particularly male. Biases always work in every government. ऐसा मत सोचिएगा just because you have a male prime minister तो इसलिए हो रहा है. Even if there would be a woman prime minister, तब भी same ही होता. Because patriarchy works for everyone. If a male can think that we are superior, so does the woman think that they are superior in some projects. For example, you can take the example of Mamata Banerjee. उनकी composition देख लेना. Mamata Banerjee's top officers देख लेना. Exclusively upper caste male. बात समझ में आई सबको? Because these things always work. Next is additional employment opportunity, socio-economic indicators, adequate infrastructures, living standard, livelihood security. All dramas. Who know who will achieve what? But है फिर भी. ठीक है? चलिए next look at component of PMJ. Number 1, development of SC dominated village, that is the Adarsh Gram Yojana. By providing various infrastructure and improving socio-economic indicators, granting aid to district and state level project like comprehensive livelihood projects, basically to aim to provide them sustainable income and something. Next is skill development, grant for creation or acquisition of assets and infrastructural development like hostels and residential school. Residential school means Eklavya residential schools. These all are basically the component under this. जल्दी देख लेते हैं. Special provision for allocation of resources. Generally, in this you can see economically viable project for SC women is up to 15%. Overall, the broad scheme, 15% is the exclusive component for women in SCs. Next is infrastructure development up to 30% and around 10% for skill development. Promotion of SC women cooperatives. SC women cooperatives. I hope you remember we discussed somewhere SSGs, self-help groups. Same kind of mechanism. Self-help groups, cooperatives. They are basically aimed to uplift various communities. इसका आपको मैंने समझाया था. SSGs में what happens is government tries to bring deprived communities together in a group, so that they can collect money from each other for each other. They can have a joint bank account. They can take joint loans, help each other to develop skills, start small businesses. That's all the program. Take other areas of concern. Let's see. First area of concern is minor forest produce. I always say, we often think that strongman governments are good for the country. But मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया था, strongman governments are always bad for the country. Because when you have a coalition government, people have an imagination in coalition governments are weak. Coalition government में they do not take decision. It's wrong. Coalition government take decision, but they empower people. Strongmen empower themselves at the cost of people. You see all the laws that gives you rights. They were before the strongman government. मुझे नहीं पता कौन strongman है, but before that government, one of the law is scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dweller recognition of forest right act 2006. Look at the year. Coalition government. All revolutionary things that you can imagine. All revolutionary things that empowered you at the cost of the government are all from coalition era. India became a nuclear power under not any strongman government, under a coalition government led by BJP's Vajpayee, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. You got right to food in 2013 under coalition government. You got India-US civil nuclear agreement under coalition government. You got right to work under coalition government. You got right to information under coalition government. You got right to education under coalition government. None of these initiatives were strongman's government. Strongman government never empower you. Always remember this. They create a mirage, of course. They create a mirage. Why? Because we all have this tendency. We love a person with authority. If you have two person, a person who is in dilemma and a person who exume confidence, चाहे वो अंदर से कितना भी insecure हो, so we tend to love the person who exumes confidence, and strongmen are very good at that. They create a very strong mirage that I am a person who can take care of all your problems, but they never do. But mirage is very strong. Clear this much? All the laws. So this law is very, very, very important. For short, it is known as Forest Rights Act. For short, it is known as Forest Rights Act. It has empowered particularly the tribals. The tribals have right to property under this. Up to, I think, 4 hectares or something, they can claim a legal property, because tribals lives in forest majorly, and they do not want to join so-called modern civilization. And I've always told you, it's not bad. Modern civilization has a lot of weaknesses. Most important, consumerism. It has converted humans from humans to consumers who are trying to experience this thing and that thing. They don't want this. Tribals live with their traditional way of living. They worship forest. Something environment where you will study known as forest groves. They worship forest, they worship land, they protect these areas. The last diversity hotspot, if India has, they are in tribal areas. So for that, government tried to provide them right over their forest, and that this law is very important, known as Forest Rights Act. So what it empowers, it empowers you, the tribal community, to claim up to 4 hectares of land in which they live. Nobody can evict them out. You can officially claim it. It preserves diversity. It preserves the natural resources, and they can also claim minor forest produce. What is minor forest produce? Any produce that is of non-timber origin. For example, there is a tree or something fell out of it. It's a minor forest produce. If you cut down the forest, if you cut down a tree, it is not minor forest produce. So what is a minor forest produce? The produce of forest origin, but without timber origin. Clear this much? Please remember this definition. So there are 12 different kind of minor forest produce identified by the Tribals Affairs Ministry.
So timber origin particular means wood.
Kind of wood. You are cutting down a tree to get something out of it, basically. How about what? Bamboo cultivation. Grass mein aata hai वैसे, but cultivation is different. You are cultivating something is different. Tribals can cultivate anything. I'm talking about traditional forests where they have trees and you're cutting them down. That is not allowed. You got the point? You have the right over the forest, but you cannot cut down the forest just because you have a right over it. Cultivation is different. If you're cultivating something in a forest, it's different. That's your produce. That is what we call minor forest produces. There are around 12 different kind of minor forest produces recognized by Tribal Ministry, covered under Mechanism for Marketing of Minor Forest Produce, MFP, through MSP and Development of Value Chain. And this happens in 5th schedule state. Constitution of India has preamble, provision and schedules. Out of this, there are 2 important schedules, Schedule 5 and Schedule 6. Schedule 5, may there are some states which are tribal in origin, which has a large amount of tribal population. Not entire state, but some area of that state has tribal population. They are constitutionally protected areas. So does Schedule 6 state. There are 4 Schedule 6 states in Northeast India. Clear? I think Assam, Meghalaya, something is there. Okay. TriFed. It's a very important organization. TriFed. Tribal something iska pura naam, I don't know. So TriFed basically works for increasing the value or the income for tribals of India. TriFed. So TriFed is responsible for bulk procurement of minor forest produce and surplus agriculture produce from tribals. But now the procurement has been done by state level. Earlier, TriFed used to do this procurement. Now this procurement are done by state level tribal cooperative societies and federation. However, TriFed still works as a market developer. Aajkal you are seeing Modi also promotes something called Indian handicrafts. Majority of them are of tribal origin. आप देख रहे हैं India handloom brand. Numerous initiatives numerous initiative which aims to protect, यहाँ देख लो सब लोग, numerous initiative which aims to protect the tribal craft. But ठीक है, fine, देखिए, change is the law of nature. ठीक है, some things will always go out of practice, something will always come in practice. So whatever we can protect as heritage of India, that is what we are trying to do. ठीक है, please remember this, that now who procures minor forest produce? Few things remember for prelims. Pehla, minor forest produce is a defined word under Forest Rights Act. Please remember this, minor forest produce is a defined word under Forest Rights Act, which gives right to the tribals over forest up to around 4 hectares. Nobody can evict them. Okay? And they have the right to collect minor forest produce and they can sell it to open market. And who carried this function for them? Tri-Fed. Now procurement is done by state level cooperative, but Tri-Fed works as a market developer. All are very important for prelims. Means mein to hai important, because I have always told you there are some favorite topics of UPSC. Women, SC, ST, deprived community, हमेशा पूछते हैं इससे बारे में. Sanitation, hygiene, these are very favorite topic of UPSC. They always ask. Please remember this. And they also have a shop known as Tribes India. These are shops operated by Tri-Fed itself. It helps the tribals to market their produce. Clear, everyone? Please remember these facts. Next, Pradhan Mantri Wan Dhan Yojana. Basically, it aims to promote the tribal produces. Government has proposed to set up around 300 Wan Dhan Vikas Kendra. This is something you study in economics in agriculture. The biggest problem we suffer in agriculture is farmer produce something, but they're unable to get it processed. Without processing, it perishes quickly, very quickly. And for example, you are a farmer, you produce something, some vegetable easily perishes. You will take around 1 month to find a suitable buyer. By the time your produce will be perished. So would you ever grow a vegetable? No. You will always keep on growing wheat, rice. This is a big problem in India in farming, particularly in Punjab and Haryana. They are doing monocropping and bicropping. Wheat, rice in a cycle. That destroys environment, that destroys the soil, and that is destroying the water also. They should diversify. Grow pulses in between. Grow oil seeds. Grow vegetables. But the problem is, for these produce, they do not get good prices. Wheat and rice is an assured commodity by the government. Under government MSP, minimum support prices scheme, Food Corporation of India procures wheat and rice, and there is always an assured procurement. So a farmer, like a businessman, he knows if I grow vegetable, which is important for my soil, for health of the India, because we import a large amount of oil seeds. If farmer grows an oil seed, they can substitute India's import bill. But he also knows by the time I will find someone, or I may not find anyone who will give me remunerative prices, but I know government will surely procure my rice and wheat. So they keep on producing that. That's a very ecological disaster. This much is clear, and it is also a disaster for you people. Why we eat so much of wheat-based rotis? Earlier ऐसा नहीं होता था. After Green Revolution, wheat substituted millets. आपने देखा मक्के की रोटी and all these things. They are very healthy and they are very good for the body. That's why nowadays market में you have something called multi-grain atta. This is the problem. Ashirwad multi-grain atta. So understand everything, because you need different components, something we call micronutrients. You're constantly eating rice, wheat. You're not adding millets, bajra, and different kind of things which are very nutritious crops. Why? Because after Green Revolution, we are keep on producing rice, wheat. So wheat, that's why wheat has substituted rice. Another thing is wheat is fine grained. Millets are coarse grained. And over time, we have developed the tendency, fine grain means I am upper class person. Coarse grain is for poor people. ऐसा नहीं है. Coarse grain is highly nutritious. It's very important to be the part of your daily meal. Clear this much? This is happening. So इसके लिए what government has decided, for same purpose, government is creating this Wan Dhan Yojana. It is for tribals. Whatever the tribals are producing, it will be processed in Wan Dhan Vikas Kendra, so that they have a better shelf life, they have better marketing, they have better availability of long procurements. That is the main thing. Primary label value addition. सबको समझ आया? What is the purpose of this scheme? A primary variable value addition which will make your produce more attractive, more consumable, and most important, increased shelf life. You can take time to find a good purchaser of your crop rather than selling anyone you find at first hand. Okay, please remember this. Again, who is here? Trifed. Trifed is a central body everywhere whenever the tribals comes into play. Okay, please remember that. Chaliye. So this was the one concern, and this is a TriFed. Some fact I have included about TriFed. TriFed full form is Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India Limited. It is an apex organization at national level and function under Ministry of Tribal Affairs. The only purpose this body has is to develop market for tribals. That's only purpose it serves. बाकी आप एक बार पढ़ लेना. आपने शायद ये सुना भी होगा, आदि महोत्सव दिल्ली में भी बहुत बार ऑर्गेनाइज हुआ है. आदि महोत्सव, it is organized around the country. दिल्ली में भी it is organized, खासकर ट्रेड फेयर एरिया में it is organized. Here a lot of tribals are called and they showcase their produces. This Mahotsav, it's a kind of festival organized by TriFed under Ministry of Tribal Affairs. ठीक है. Next, violence on Dalits in urban areas. Next issue of concern for tribals and Dalits are, according to NCRB, the atrocities against Dalit in metropolitans shows that urban areas reflect pattern in their surrounding rural belt, especially in UP Bihar. UP Bihar हर जगह आ ही जाता है. Whenever good things we are talking about. So, why it is so? That name numerous reasons. One reason is NCRB record, National Crime Record Bureau. Its record is based on registered FIR. The thing is, the tribal and the Dalits who come to urban areas, they are often aware of their rights. You are aware of your rights, so of course, if somebody messes with you, you file a complaint. And if you file a complaint, it gets registered in NCRB records. Rural areas, a lot of people suffer atrocities. They do not know about their rights. And if you do not know about their rights, how would you register an FIR or a complaint? Even if you go to register an FIR, largely police person do not register. Biases I always do always works. It always is works. So please remember this. So higher incidence of caste-based atrocities in cities could be because of greater awareness among urban Dalits about their rights. Sabko samajh aaya NCRB why there is a rise in crime against the Dalits? We are not very clear about it, but maybe because of increased awareness about their rights. Particular rights they enjoy is, sabko pata hi hoga, SC/ST Act, a draconian act made for good purposes but used for bad purposes, and that becomes a problem. If you're an upper caste person, you will never give a Dalit person a rented accommodation. Why? Because you know, if I give this person on rent, in Delhi I'm talking about, if you give that person a flat on rent, and if you go for rent or some altercation happens, that person immediately go to police and say he used a caste word, जबकि आपने use भी नहीं करा है. That's why आप देते नहीं accommodation. That's why, for example, police person find it hard to get accommodation. उन्हें कोई देना ही नहीं चाहता, because they are like, yeah, he's a police person, he will misuse his power. इसे पता है चीज़ है, he will make a ruckus, unnecessary ruckus. Lawyers, judges, these kind of people are usually people do not try to intermingle with them because they know these people knows law and they will unnecessarily use law for bad purposes. Okay, with powers come responsibility. Most of the time, with powers come arrogance. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं आती है, एरोगेंस आता है. मुझसे पंगा लेगा. देखा नहीं था वो लॉयर्स ने कैसे पीटा था पुलिस वालों को, 30,000 कोर्ट में हुआ था इंसिडेंट. आई बिलीव पुलिस वालों को धर के पीटा था. डीएसपी थी और बहुत लोगों को पेला था उन्हें भर के. व्हाई? बिकॉज़ द थिंग इज दे नो लॉ. उन्हें पता है तुम आओगे तो कोर्ट में ही केस लड़ने और हम है ही यहाँ पे. फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन दिल्ली हिस्ट्री, दिल्ली पुलिस पर्सनल प्रोटेस्टेड ऑन आईटीओ. सोचिए, वो लोग प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं आईटीओ पे क्योंकि भर के पेला था. पता नहीं कोई रीजन हुआ था, आई डोंट नो व्हाट वाज द रीजन, बट लॉयर्स ने भर के पेला था बिकॉज़ दे नो द लॉ. दे आर लाइक, क्या कर लोगे तुम हमारा. ठीक है, दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम ऑफन पीपल हैव. प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस. सो SC/ST Act is good. It was made to protect the Dalits and the tribal peoples, but it has been misused exhaustively for unnecessary purpose. अब इसका नुकसान क्या होता है? The people who deserve the protection of these law are unable to avail the law. People who do not deserve the protection, they misuse the law. It creates anti-sentiments against the law. Same is the law. Same comparison with respect to the dowry law, 498, section 498A, highly misused law. Supreme Court even called it a legal terrorism. In this, if a woman goes to a police station claiming that my husband's family is committing atrocity, particularly related to dowry, पूरा परिवार जेल में, ठीक है। नहीं, इसने किसने बोला ऐसा? होम मिनिस्ट्री ने बोला। They argue that around 90% of the case filed against the 498A are acquitted or absolved on wrong charges. क्या होता है, you are in a marriage, you have an altercation, not on dowry, किसी भी बात हो सकती है। You are like, अब मैं डॉरी का केस करूंगी। The incident is not related to dowry, but you use the provision because you have the ब्रह्मास्त्र, चला दो इसे कभी भी। इससे नुकसान क्या होता है? देखिए again understand, if you are that much powerful, you can go against your family, your parents' family, your husband's family and go to a police station. Then how could you be abused? अगर आप इतने पावरफुल हो, you can enforce your crime, तो there are chances you may not be abused. कोई weak people are abused. Strong people को कौन abuse कर सकता है? तुरंत धमकी दोगे, अभी चले जाऊंगे कोर्ट में, ठीक है? I am not saying this. This is what government says. Government report highlight 90% of the cases registered in 498A are biased cases, acquitted or found false. But जबकि we know from report 70 to 80% of women in India suffer from domestic violence, particularly intimate partner violence. तो एक तरफ violence है, but इसका reflection law में नहीं होता. Because understand, these laws are very powerful, but the people who do not need them misuse them. The people who need them are either incompetent or unaware. Clear? So anyway, this is what is going on. There is rising atrocities against Dalit. Maybe it is because of not rising atrocities, but rising registered cases because of increased awareness about rights. But nonetheless, it is a big concern. Clear? Two concerns. First was a minor force produced. Second is the with respect to atrocities. Next thing. Third concern, Dalit capitalism. There was an argument given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he reached here. There was a national conference of Dalit entrepreneurs in 2015, organized by Dalit Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Dikki basically, on 125th anniversary of B.R. Ambedkar. The Prime Minister Modi went there and he talked about something called Dalit capitalism. He said, you're a Dalit, become a capitalist, so you may not be a Dalit. For example, you want to work, you want a job. Would you care if your owner, the owner of the shop, the owner of that big enterprise is a Dalit? You won't care. Same way, a person who needs talented people, that person may not care what is the religion, gender may be, but religion or caste may be. Again, all these are maybes depending upon the people. Some people are literally very biased. They will die, but they will not hire. Okay, that happens in government also. Same happens in government also. Promotion depends upon how much the person in promotion authority likes you. Liking parameters can vary everywhere. Okay? So what is the problem here is Dalit capitalism a solution? We are debating this question. If Dalit becomes capitalist, so can they deal with these atrocities they are having? Something Modi get, be a job giver, not a job seeker. Be a job giver. He says if you become a job giver, then even a Brahmin will not dare to discriminate against you because that person needs a job. The upper caste person needs a job. You are a paymaster, you are paying a handsome salary, that person will work for you and over time it will develop harmony because that person will see you are not different from him or her, whatever is the case. But is it a real solution? Now we have to discuss that because the proponent of Dalit capitalism argue that economic well-being make them less dependent on upper caste. Less dependent. But is it a solution? Because understand these questions. How does class consciousness will replace caste consciousness? Okay, fine. Modi ji said become a Dalit capitalist. Okay, fine. But would this replace the caste consciousness? You may become a Dalit, you may become a millionaire, but you will be called a Dalit millionaire. The way current Prime Minister is, current president, he is called as Dalit president. Government says we have the first Dalit president in our tenure. Government itself said this. And I told you these are all being done for political freebies. Because Modi government was argued for biasness toward upper caste. It has always been argued because BJP has always had a strong base in upper caste. The lower caste often did not used to vote for them. Now they are voting en masse. So there was an accusation. So they gave first president they made was Ramnath Kovind, SC. Second president Murmu, ST. It was to signal the Dalit community that I am not against you. Whatever the position is saying is wrong. President की position हमेशा ऐसी होती है. President की position is always a political signaling by the Prime Minister. हमेशा रही है. Why Congress government made so many Muslims as president? Same reason. Why Congress made even Sikh presidents? Same reasons. है? ओहो, बड़े बड़े सपने, ठीक है. कितने महंगे सपने देखते हो यार तुम. चलिए, एनीवे क्लियर है. तो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, वुड दिस class consciousness of Dalit capitalism will replace caste consciousness? First question. Second question, what about Dalit committing atrocities on Dalit? Because I gave you an example that a woman, she became IAS, क्या नाम है उसका? Tina Dhabi, yes. Tina Dhabi, she used quota. She used SC quota, I believe, and she comes from a very well-off family. Her both parents were IAS officer using quota. Her grandfather was some ISRO or whatever. So she has no feature of being a Dalit. She used the Dalit quota. So what she has done wrong in that? Nothing wrong. By she has the opportunity, she uses. I believe अगर आपको होती तो आप भी करते. But the difference, understand here, she did not ate up a job of an upper caste person. She ate up a job of a Dalit, a person who was really deprived. That person could have used that quota she used to get into services. But because she ate up a seat without meeting all economic conditions, she had no economic condition belonging to Dalits. I'm not saying she is not talented. That's different part. She topped the mains exam. Prelims mein she scored so low. If she would not be having the quota, she would have never become IAS officer. IAS to jab banoge to prelims niklega. Prelims mein she had a very low cutoff because IAS list is created by mains and interview. Mains and interview mein she scored very high, but prelims mein she scored very low. If she would not be having SC quota, she would have never cleared prelims itself. How would you write mains and interview? बात समझ में आया? तो देखिए, sometimes I told you, no, even hard work does not work if your luck works. She was born into a particular caste, she used it. But that is not the point. The point is, second point is this. Second point argues is, what about the people within the list who become rich, who become powerful, then they leave their own fellow people behind? ये बहुत बड़ी बात होती है. For example, when you're a common man, you criticize the government. When you join the government, you criticize the common man. अभी आप लोग बड़ी बड़ी बातें सोच भी रहे होगे. I will bring this revolution, that revolution. But when you will join the government, you are like एक पैक बनाएंगे मिनिस्टर के साथ और भूल जाएंगे गरीबों को. It happens. मतलब आप खुद सोचिए. Every year we have around 1,000 IAS officer, more or less. Every year, 75 years we have been here. कितनों ने क्या बदलाव ला लिया? कौन सा ऐसा बदलाव लाया IAS officers? Understand, because when you get into the system ना, if you repel the system, मान लेते you start working for the poor, सबसे पहले आपका ट्रांसफर होगा यवतमाल में, ठीक है? वहां पे you will be so threatened कि आपको जिंदगी की परवाह हो जाएगी, गरीबों की छोड़ो. समझ रहा? System works like this. So that is the second point. The people who are leaving the Dalit category and becoming Dalit capitalists, are they really working for the Dalit? You can find this no. You can check anyone Dalit who has reached to the highest height. आप देखिएगा उनका majority of the employees, जो majority of the top employees they have upper caste ही होंगे, जबकि they themselves are a Dalit. So these are two questions that we have to understand. First is, would the class consciousness replace the caste consciousness? Second, the Dalit who are getting empowered, are they doing anything for their community? सबको समझ में आया? Now we have to understand Baba Saheb Ambedkar what he said. He pointed out in Alienation of Caste that a man's prowess or success depends upon three things: physical inheritance, social inheritance, and finally, own efforts. So nobody will come to assistance until unless first own effort is but your success also depends upon what is your social inheritance, in what religion you are born, caste you are born, gender you are born, community you are born. And same is the reason for physical inheritance. सबको समझ में आया? So these are the two questions where we have no definite answer. तो इसका तो we cannot do much about it, but these two questions will always linger: class consciousness versus caste consciousness, and the Dalits committing atrocities on their fellow Dalit. Once they become the elite class, they leave the Dalit tag. उनको पसंद ही नहीं होता कोई ना दलित बोले. You see this, if someone becomes that into the upper elite era, so they hate if somebody calls them Dalit. This is the problem. If you leave your identity, you leave everything behind. First, you have to acknowledge, yes, I am a Dalit and I am working for them. If you remember that Lakshmi Narayan sir was here, so तेरे को that one person कौन था वो मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा, आदिल I believe, ठीक है, UPSC पे लगने वाला है कुछ दिनों में. So he said something. He said, "Sir, I come from a minority community. When I want to become an IAS, I want to work for the minority community along with other people." So he forgot the other people, and he was like, "If you say that to me, and I am an entrepreneur, I will give you 0." ठीक है? अब ये क्या गलत बोला उसने? Everyone works for something. ठीक है? And he used the word this. He said this कि I will work for my community, but he also said I will work for other communities also, but I will have a special focus on my community. What is bad in that? Or always remember, a factor that disempowers you is the only factor that can empower you. If you have been discriminated in the name of gender, then only gender-based politics, gender-based classification can empower you. That's why we have women budgeting. क्यों था women budgeting? इसीलिए ना, because we acknowledge special need. Why we have SC budgeting? Why we have ST components? They all recognize because umbrella scheme do not serve the justice. क्लियर है सबको? तो प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस आर्ग्यूमेंट. बाकी आपकी मर्जी, जो चाहे मानो. ठीक है, चलिए. तो दिस वाज द न्यूज आई वांट टू डिस्कस. नेक्स्ट इज मैनुअल स्कैवेंजिंग. लेट्स सी व्हाट इज दिस.
जो पीएम अजय योजना है उसमें हम लोग इक्वालिटी ऑफ रिसोर्सेज के अंदर में जो मान सकते हैं.
इक्वालिटी ऑफ रिसोर्सेज तो नहीं होगा, स्पेशल प्रिविलेज है, बिकॉज आपके लिए हॉस्टल बनाया जा रहा है, बाकियों के लिए नहीं. There are two kinds of discrimination. One is called positive, one is called negative or regressive. ठीक है, something you call affirmative actions. Positive discrimination. For example, if I am having a race, a person who is physically handicapped, I give him a wheelchair. Other person ko I will not give a wheelchair. It is called positive discrimination because you can run, you have legs and everything. That person is weak somewhere, so I am substituting a weak component. But अब इसे ऐसे समझिए, that wheelchair person, I set him in the mid of the race और आपको starting में रख दे, तो it is called reverse discrimination. यहाँ पे that person is not positively benefited, you are negatively benefited here. ठीक है, तो this is a kind of positive. रिजर्वेशन को इक्वालिटी ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी के अलावा कुछ नहीं है. नहीं, ठीक है, आपका आर्गुमेंट ठीक है, बट रिजर्वेशन में फिर वही प्रॉब्लम आता है ना. डज इट बेनिफिट एवरीवन? नो, इट डज नॉट. वी हैव डिस्कस्ड न्यूमरस रिपोर्ट. I hope previous classes when we discussed OBC, that committee has come or something, which highlighted majority of the people in government services are belonging from few castes, and this is a phenomenon in every caste. OBC, SC, ST, they have reservations, but in this you will find only few castes are using reservation again and again. The remaining castes are either absent or virtually non-present anywhere. कुछ caste जो powerful हो गई हैं, जैसे I think Meenas are very powerful in किसमें है, Rajasthan में, and they are using reservation again and again, leaving other castes of Rajasthan behind. This is a problem we have. Some castes which get empowered, they keep on using reservation. So there is an argument we can place a restriction of 1 generation or maybe 2, that you can use reservation maybe at most twice. You and your kids, after that nobody can use reservation. इससे फायदा ये हो सकता है, it's a suggestion that the advantage could be you will be out of the scheme, so you will leave a space for other people. जैसे for example Tina Rabi's case, her parents had used, so she could not be allowed to use and her sister would not be allowed to use reservation. इससे क्या होगा, they will leave a space for other people. But this is a suggestion, पता नहीं क्या होगा जिंदगी में. वर्टिकल रिजर्वेशन तो वैसे ही आपका 60% हो चुका है. वर्टिकल 60 है, वो हॉरिजॉन्टल होता है. Horizontal reservation is reservation within reservation is horizontal. Vertical is maximum quantity of reservation. Currently, you have a 60% reservation. EWS 10, 27 OBC, 23 SC/ST combined. But effective reservation is actually around 65, 67. हाँ, वो एक प्रॉब्लम हो गया है because earlier lower caste used to associate with upper caste. Something we have discussed earlier. दोबारा बताता हूँ मैं. M.N. Srinivasan's Sanskritization of caste concept. M.N. Srinivasan argued that there are dominant communities in an area and non-dominant community often leave their practices to join the dominant community. It always happens. जैसे for example in India में which is the dominant community, Hindus. Muslims are the minorities. Muslim does not have a caste system, but still Muslim has caste system. जबकि Islam में there is no caste system. Islam में there is no caste system. Islam treats everyone as one. Hindus treat caste, but if you will ask any Muslim, they also distinguish each other. You are Anshari, you are that, you are that. Why it has happened? Because they are not non-dominant communities. Hindus are the dominant community, so they have left their own practices to adopt dominant community practices. It happens everywhere. For example, you are a Brahmin in an area dominated by Dalits. They are well off, well rich. So you will leave your practices to join their practices so that you have a sense of belonging. आप लोगों के साथ भी होता है when you come to coaching for the first time, you start finding groups. You modulate your personality ताकि आप group में fit हो जाओ किसी तरह. It happens with everyone. ठीक है, सबको समझ में आया? चलिए anyway. Next, manual scavenging. Manual है? सही बात है, तुम लीडर हो. ठीक है. Manual scavenging. The Supreme Court has issued a series of directives to both center and state government with the aim of entirely eliminating manual scavenging. The court has also increased the compensation. So what is manual scavenging? Let's understand. Manual scavenging basically involves manual removal of human and animal waste from dry latrines followed by transportation, disposal and sanitation. I hope you have seen that movie Slumdog Millionaire. नहीं देखी? Slumdog Millionaire में there is a starting scene. Yes, those kids were they were in a latrine something. It was a dry latrine. There was a pothole in the sheet and all the feces drops into a pit. That pit has to be cleaned over time. That scene that has been shown, these are called dry latrines, unsanitary latrines. Problem यहाँ पे आती है unsanitary latrine. क्या? हाँ, flush है लेकिन वो transportation नहीं है. Feces keep on accumulating at a place. Then you have to clean it. अब problem कहाँ आती है? Cleaning is not a problem. Cleaning is problem with Hinduism. Because Hinduism believes that only lower caste should clean the feces. Hinduism में आज भी, why Modi government found it very hard, very beautiful effort of Modi government, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Because Hinduism there is a belief where you have a tulsi, you cannot have a latrine. It is considered pollution of the home. इसलिए you have seen ना Brahmins वो धागा से ऐसे बांध लेते, then they do all the ऐसे थोड़ा सा करके फिर पैक मारा. और उससे पहले they do this. They take the Genevu and round it up and then they take the pack. बुरा काम हो रहा है तो let me do this. Say no to alcohol, only ganja allowed. ठीक है. So anyway, why this happens? This happens because of some beliefs. This is a problem in India. Manual scavenging is promoted because primarily we have a dry and unsanitary latrines and they have to be cleaned over time. And India's caste system dictates upper caste cannot touch human faces. So who do this? Lower caste. So you will find majorly, maybe 99% of the people involved in manual scavenging are lower caste. Anyway, they are present anywhere. So what we brought prohibition of employment as manual scavenger and their Rehabilitation Act 2013. देखिए, another law under coalition government. So you will find all laws which are really beautiful laws that have really empowered people all belong to coalition governments. Because coalition government force you. You are a prime minister, then you will have a dependent partner who may be from Samajwadi party. He will force you to have a scheme for Yadavs also. Then you will have a member who supports your government, maybe belonging to Tamil Nadu. He will force you to provide a new train to Tamil Nadu. Otherwise, if you are a dominant person, you have single party government. So you don't care about other people. You care about only your vote bank politics. Just recently, Modi ji is about to visit Ram Temple. Take a most important achievement in 10 years. So there was an argument by the Muslim side. They are saying you are the Prime Minister of India. After laying the foundation, whatever you're doing there, come to the place we are building the mosque. After Supreme Court judgment, they were given a land to build a mosque. He is saying, if you are the Prime Minister of India, you're going there, come there. I can guarantee he will not go there. Because pandering to politics. वो भी election year में तो कतई नहीं जाना. ठीक है? तो understand, it's a compulsion. He does not hate Muslims or something, but he has a compulsion. Everyone has a compulsion. जैसे I told you, Shahbano case अगर आपको याद हो, Shahbano was a Muslim woman, went to Supreme Court to take the alimony. Rajiv Gandhi government was there. So they were Muslim fanatics. They pressurized Rajiv Gandhi to subvert Supreme Court judgment. A progressive judgment was subverted by Rajiv Gandhi government. Why? Because his vote bank politics came into between. If he did not reverse the judgment, he may not get the vote from Muslim community. The same is with the compulsion with Modi. So vote bank politics के लिए you have to do things. But nonetheless, a very good law. That's why coalition governments are always better than any strongman government. Be it Rajiv Gandhi, be it Indira Gandhi, और बाकी नाम हमें भी लेंगे नहीं सरकार जाने के बाद. ठीक है. Next, it encompasses tasks like cleaning, caring, disposal of, handling human excreta in insanitary latrines. The practice is officially banned since December 2013. Delhi में तो it is no longer practiced. I hope when you were kids or something, you may have seen somebody getting into the sewers and cleaning it. आपने शायद देखा हो. आज ही देख लिया. कहाँ देखा? तो sewers में गया था वो. कमाल है. ठीक है. So this is the problem. This is what we call such kind of countries. Soft state. Soft state is a state which make laws but is unable to implement them. It make laws but is unable to implement them, and such a state are dangerous for the development of the country, because you are powerful, you can violate any law on earth. So that he said the example. So if a person has to do manual scavenging in Delhi, then imagine some rural areas in UP, Bihar, Haryana, Punjab, or anywhere. What they, and that is the problem I'm talking about. Is you are making a law. If people do not obey, what they are violating? They are violating your sovereignty. Same thing happened, if you remember, in civil disobedience. Britishers made a law regarding salt. Gandhi violated it. It was a direct challenge to British government. You make a law. If somebody does not obey, it's a direct challenge to your sovereignty. That person is saying, I do not consider you sovereign. Understand? If you are making a law, you must make the other person to obey the law. If they are not obeying the law, then you are nothing more than soft state. And soft state are dangerous for development. So he gave the example. We have a law in 2013. आज भी people are doing manual scavenging. The it is banned since 2013. Clear this much? चलिए next देख लेते हैं background. कर दो ट्वीट. पता नहीं इस पे एक्शन होगा या नहीं होगा. कुछ और ट्वीट करते तो एक्शन हो जाता. The court acknowledged that petition filed in 2020, bringing it to the attention the pressing issue of fatalities in sewers. Sewers में the biggest fatalities we happen. You know there are numerous gases in there. ठीक है, numerous gases, and when some person enters, there are a lot of deaths also. It's very hazardous when you enters. There should be first you should open it and it should be allowed to vent it for some time. उसके बाद भी you should have proper mask. ठीक है, गैस मास्क. कौन सा गैस मास्क इंडिया में? ठीक है, we have such a large population. क्या करेंगे इनका? कुछ तो करना ही है. So use them in sewers. ठीक है, population कम होगा इससे हमारा. ठीक है, that is the logic they have. Pressing issue of fatalities in sewers, and government departments are involved. यहाँ पे कोई private व्यक्ति नहीं है. Government department, particularly the local municipalities, are involved in this. Anyway, so हमें पता है they are banned under these laws, and these laws, please remember both names. And under which ministry is responsible for this? Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment, the National Commission for Scheduled Caste, and the National Commission for Scheduled Tribe. Both of these are constitutional bodies and a very powerful one. Governance mein you will do this. National Commission for Scheduled Caste and National Commission for Scheduled Tribe, both are constitutional bodies. Advisory, but they have very vast powers. Tribal Ministry has even vast powers. It can even confront government, but फिर वही मैंने आपको समझाया था. It depends upon who is the leader. करने को तो CBI is also, जैसे आज recent में राजस्थान Chief Minister made a comment that राजस्थान में there are more ED CBI than dogs. ठीक है, सोचिए आप ED CBI में कितनी बेइज्जती फील हो रही होगी. So इसलिए हो रहा है because the leader is bad. If you have a good person in CBI, they can make the government to bend. पर ऐसे लोग पहुंचते नहीं ना ऊपर. चलिए कोई नहीं. Government initiative, let's see. We know this law has been brought. It prohibits what? Unsanitary latrine. But still government make unsanitary latrine. Especially during fair times. When fairs and festival happen, आप देखिए the temporary latrines they make are all unsanitary latrines. जबकि it is banned in law. तब भी जब सरकार violate करेगी तो आप क्यों नहीं करेंगे? Next, it also forbids employment of individual in cleaning sewers, pipe, and swimming pool through hazardous manual methods. So it bans dry latrines, it bans manual scavenging, it bans cleaning sewer pipes and swimming pools. Swimming pools using hazardous. तुम क्या क्या करते हो swimming pool में यार? तो ये ज़्यादा hazardous है. The act is also outlined measures to rehabilitate individual identified by municipalities. बहुत लॉज हैं इंप्लीमेंट नहीं होते. मैंने आपको बताया पार्लियामेंट has also made laws known as street vendors law. 2014 में I believe बना था. Under this, all the street vendors can have a local committee having street vendors representative and some municipality, and these committee will identify street vendors and issue cards. कोई नहीं करता. दिल्ली में देखिए कितने सारे street vendors हैं. If you will have a proper card, nobody can remove you. अब क्या होता है, पुलिस वाले आते हैं, they are like हफ्ता निकालो. ठीक है, this happens. You have a law that empowers you, but the problem is those who know this law are not interested in implementation. You know, पैसा वैसा इधर आता रहता है. Everyone has the system. Clear है तो law clear है. No sanitary latrine can be built. No manual scavenging. No cleaning of sewers and swimming pools using hazardous methods. And there is a provision of rehabilitation and resettlement, all in books only. ठीक है? That's the main criticism. Next, Article 21 हम सबको पता है. Article 21 guarantees what? Right to life and personal liberty. The government has also developed something called Swachhta Abhiyan app. Very good idea. In this, they geotagged insanitary latrines and manual scavengers to replace them with sanitary latrines. Our Swachh Bharat mission mein, they are trying to build sanitary latrines only. Next. So clear this initiative. Last, let's see. Safai Karamchari Andolan, others versus Union of India case, in the Supreme Court further said that there should be a ban on manual scavenging and issued directives for rehabilitation of individual. वैसे भी who cares about Supreme Court anyway? वो बोलते ही रहते हैं आए दिन कुछ ना कुछ. Who cares? Why? Because we have something called Contempt of Court Act. अब वो इतना भंगार act है. Under that act, if you disobey a Supreme Court judgment, it is a civil offense. ये कौन सी बात हुई? ठीक है, if you obstruct justice or if you comment on some Chief Justice of India, ठीक है, having sitting in his own rape case, तो वो criminal offense है. If you are criticizing judiciary, then it's a criminal offense. If you are disobeying Supreme Court order, then it is a civil offense. पता नहीं कौन सी दुनिया में भांग खा के लॉ बनाया था. ठीक है, क्या तो क्या हुआ? गॉड, यही तो प्रॉब्लम है हमारे साथ. हम ऐसे भंगार लोगों को गॉड मानते हैं. ठीक है, नोबडी इज गॉड, नोबडी इज अबव क्रिटिसिज्म. सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भगवान नहीं है. हमारे पास चीफ जस्टिस हुए हैं, द लॉर्डशिप, जो अपने रेप केस में बैठे हैं. ठीक है, तो ऐसा कोई भगवान नहीं. अंडरस्टैंड, वंस यू पुट एनीवन अबव क्रिटिसिज्म, हम तो भगवान को क्रिटिसाइज कर दें, ये क्या चीज है. ठीक है, क्लियर, रिमेंबर दैट. नेक्स्ट, द जजमेंट एम्फसाइज द रिहैबिलिटेशन शुड बी founded on principle of justice and transformation. Anyway, सब किताबी बातें हैं. Clear? Please remember the case name. So what do you have to remember? Remember the laws. Remember the three provisions we have here, and remember this case specifically. And some points the Supreme Court said. A reason for manual scavenging मैंने आपको बता ही दिया. The biggest reason is insanitary latrine. This is the foremost reason. It is the foremost reason for manual scavenging. Second is lethargy of state government to demolish old facilities, and we also know inclusion of sanitary toilet is considered as pollution of the house. It has been long in Hinduism. And the last thing, the Dalits are meant to be performing the task of emptying latrines. This is what highlighted by Economic Survey itself. The Economic Survey argued the biggest problem in Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is that we associate our essential bodily function with negative connotation. Problem वही आती है when something everyone does and you have some bad connotation with this. ठीक है, a person sitting as IAS officer बहुत बढ़िया, a person who is cleaning the toilets बहुत घटिया. This is the problem. Both are equally honorable job. Both are equally important for the society. But society gives one more weightage than others. And that's why they become so demeaned that इसलिए हम क्या करते हैं भाई, दलित ही करेंगे. इसीलिए प्रधानमंत्री मोदी himself picked up the broom. ड्रामा ही करा सही, लेकिन he showed that if I being the Prime Minister of India, if I can clean a street, then anyone can. Very good initiative. Clear this much? चलिए, the way forward पढ़ लेना खुद ही. चलो आगे चलो. इसे स्पेल करना मेरे बस की नहीं है. क्या है? विजिनजाम, जो भी है जम, विजिनजाम सी पोर्ट, विजिनजाम, ठीक है, विदिनजाम सी पोर्ट, ठीक है. नहीं, चाइनीज तो नहीं है. विदिनजाम सी पोर्ट प्रोजेक्ट, इट्स अ इंपॉर्टेंट वन. इट्स इन केरला. So it is India's first ship docking project under construction. It is a transshipment terminal. ये बहुत important बात है. India do not have any transshipment terminal. It will be the first one. What is the transshipment means? A ship will come, it will offload in you, transmit to other ship, and the next ship will go. Transshipment. You are in between. You are not the destination. You are not the origin point. You are just a in between destination. It brings a lot of money. It brings tons of money, because if मान लेते हैं a ship is to come to India, so India does not have any transshipment. So what they have to do is they have to go to Colombo or whatever. They have to go those places. There, a big ship empties its load into small ships. Then those small ships come to India. Twice the task, twice the effort, and we lose money. We are giving money to Colombo port, Singapore port, something we can have. So इसके लिए this is a very important project. We are building this project that will allow most important thing in India, a transshipment terminal. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? Let's see quickly. So it is being built by the Kerala government under a PPP project. और PPP किसके साथ है वो ज़्यादा amazing बात है, ठीक है? It is a transshipment and gateway container business. आपको समझा ही दिया मैंने how transshipment works. It is along with Mr. Rani ji, ठीक है? So I told you earlier also, everyone love capitalist. The difference is some people love more than other. That's the only difference, because capitalist provides fund. The fund you need to fight elections. Elections जीतने के लिए a lot of money is required. And who give the money? Sorry? Yes, corporates and entrepreneurs. आप भी दे सकते हैं, but you are not interested. Anyway, remember the model was design, build, finance, operate, and transfer. So I told you when we were discussing economics, otherwise you will have a proper classroom program, वहाँ पे भी आप समझेंगे. PPP means public-private partnership, in which government asks a private partner to develop a project. Some part government gives, some part the private sector contributes, and you have a project running. Whatever the part private sector gives, they recover the money. How they recover the money depends upon project type, depend upon negotiations. Okay, but process is same. Private will be there, public means government. Public will be there, private will be there, and you will develop a project. सबको समझ में PPP? There are numerous model in PPP. And you can use any permutation combination of model depending upon your needs. This project has been created on design, means Adani people will design this, they will build the facility, they will bring the finances also, they will operate to recover the finances they have put in, and then they will transfer. सबको समझ में how it is? Design they will do, build they will do, finance they will bring, some government may contribute, whatever they will put in, they will recover through operation of the port, and then they will transfer. Maybe 10 years, 30 years, or never. Let's see when that happens. Take issues with the port. India currently has only 12 major ports. What are the major ports and minor ports? किसी को idea है थोड़ा? नहीं, नाम नहीं. What is, why we call them major port? The ports which are regulated by union government are known as major ports. Minor ports are regulated by state governments. Please understand the definition. So India currently has 12 major ports. However, they lack, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, the biggest thing, ultra large container vessel facilities. That's why India's containers has to go. देखिए 75% of India's transshipment cargo goes to Klang, पता नहीं कहाँ पे है. ठीक है, these places पे देखो. If we can have a transshipment in India, so the large ships will bring cargo to India's transshipment portal, from where they will offload to small ships, and the small ship will go around India or maybe to other countries also. It's a very significant thing. इसमें एक और problem आ रही है. The problem is that Ram Setu. The problem is there is that Ram Setu that is a part of Ramayana. It is between India and Sri Lanka. Because of this, there is a less water length. So if you have to come on the eastern coast of India, you have to go entirely from Sri Lanka, then come to India. If we can build a terminal there, you can directly pass from there. But religion comes into play, and Tamil Nadu mein there is a very strong opposition, and particularly from the Hindu community around the India, there is a very strong opposition to do anything with that area. ठीक है, कोरल है, क्या है, बट देखिए मैंने आपको एक चीज हमेशा बताई है, रिलीजन वर्क्स ऑन बिलीव करते हैं, तभी तो पत्थर में भगवान दिख रहे हैं या फिर कहीं हेवन में भगवान दिख रहे हैं, किसे पता क्या है वहां पे, ठीक है. तो दैट्स हाउ इट इज. बिलीव इज समथिंग पीपल मे हैव, हर किसी का कोई ना कोई बिलीव होता है विच मे बी रैशनल बट नॉनदलेस इट इज देयर. तो फाइन, देखते हैं व्हेन दिस बिलीव कंपोनेंट विल बी टैकल्ड विद. तो इफ वी कैन हैव अ ट्रांसशिपमेंट देयर, तो इट कैन रिड्यूस कॉस्ट, a lot of cost, but ठीक है, fine, कोई नहीं, अब तक तो चल ही रहा है. क्लियर है. तो we have 12 major ports are regulated by the union government, and 75% of Indian cargo today goes to Colombo, Singapore and Klang, and from there it comes to India. If we get this Kerala port, then India do not have to depend upon the other countries. 75% is a very big amount. India will save a large sums of foreign exchange, because obviously baat in Singapore and all places we must be giving dollars, not rupees. So we will save a lot of foreign exchange that we can use for other purposes. So this is a static significance, बाकी आप देख लेना. चलिए, fine. Next, air quality index. क्या चीज? 375. दिल्ली का कितना है? मुंबई में इतना कैसे हो गया? Okay. So metropolis have this pollution problem. All metropolis. So anyway, we are smoking 10 cigarettes a day. Even we are not smoking. ठीक है, तो स्मोक कर ही लो. ठीक है. ठीक है. लोग फ्लेवर भी बताने लगे हो. हाँ, there are numerous sources of pollution that we will understand what are the sources, what we can done. But this is news in context of Delhi. ठीक है. चलिए फोकस कीजिए. We have a body known as Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, that basically provides this all drama. It has New Delhi's air quality has been gone to very poor. Let's understand what is this. It is the part of National Air Quality Index. In short, we call it NAQI. What is NAQI? It assesses the air quality across various regions in a standardized manner, aggregate data on multiple air pollutants in a single number, and it also gives a color coding. So it measures the quality of air based on various pollutants, and it gives a color coding plus a number signifying what is your status. And under which ministry this comes? Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It is based on 8 pollutants. You must remember these pollutants are very important. It's sulfur dioxide, nitrogen. These are basically vehicular pollution. ये भी है. Carbon monoxide आप सबको पता होगा. It's very dangerous. It substitutes the role of oxygen, hemoglobin basically. Hemoglobin say if you have too much of carbon monoxide, it reduces oxygen concentration in your body. You die by suffocation basically. So ozone you have, it's remember ozone at surface is a pollution. Ozone in कौन सा troposphere or कौन सा stratosphere, वहाँ पे it is necessary. It protects us from harmful rays of sun. But at surface ozone is a pollution. It's a bad one. Ammonia and lead. UPSC had asked this question, I think previous year on this. PM 2.5 and PM 10. Understand, PM 2.5 is a very minute particle. It can enter in your bloodstream. If you are inhaling PM 2.5, it goes through your nose, through lungs, and enters in bloodstream. It damages tissue inside bloodstream. PM 10 does not enter into bloodstream. It stops at the lungs level. So PM 10 damages lungs more, obstruct the pathways, while PM 2.5 enters into your bloodstream itself. Okay, so out of this is considered more dangerous. It not only damages your lungs, it damages your entire body system, entering in your lungs, and PM 2.5 is very minute. You cannot see it by eyes. हो सकता है अभी भी इस कमरे में there is a lot of PM 2.5. You are inhaling. तो इसीलिए उसके बाद एक छोटी एडवांस मार लेना, ठीक है. All PM 2.5 will burn out. ठीक है. चलिए. So there are 6 levels of classification. इसके लिए what you do is find a mnemonics. अगर आपको all the 8 pollutants you are hard to remember, what you can do is find some mnemonics जो आप बना सकें ताकि आप याद रख पाएं 8 pollutants. नहीं मिला नेटो का? चलो मैं ढूंढता, कुछ मिल जाएगा. नेटो का निमोनिक्स. नेटो में कितने मेंबर हैं? नेटो में 30 कंट्रीज है. चलिए कुछ देखते हैं, मैं आपको दिला दूंगा. चलिए चलिए फोकस करिए, यहाँ पे होगी सबकी बातें. ऑर्डर ऑर्डर ऑर्डर. क्या ब्रेक? किसे ब्रेक चाहिए? सबको ब्रेक चाहिए? चलो ठीक है, 5 मिनट का ब्रेक ले लो यार, और क्या चाहोगे, बच्चे जान लोगे. टाइम हो रहा है, मैं पढ़ना भी है. कितनी न्यूज बची है इसके बाद? ऐसा कुछ दिखता है कलर कोडिंग सिनेरियो, ठीक है. तो ऑल यू हैव टू रिमेंबर, ये याद नहीं करना है, जस्ट फॉर योर रेफरेंस, थोड़ा कीप एन आइडिया, बट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर 6 लेवल्स एंड यू हैव टू रिमेंबर 8 पॉल्यूटेंट्स. उसके लिए यू हैव टू मेक सम निमोनिक्स और फाइंड सम निमोनिक्स, इट्स अप टू यू. ये इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, जस्ट इफ यू हैव सम आइडिया फाइन. वन थिंग यू हैव टू डू एट होम, all the pollutant that I've told you, 8 pollutant, go home and do some things. First find the sources of them. What are the sources? How they damage your body. Know some details. If they enter in your body or what they do. How the damages, what are the sources. These are very important things for all 8 pollutant you must know. ठीक है. चलिए, what is about CPCB जल्दी से देख लेते हैं. It was created under, so CPCB is a statutory body. It was created under a law of parliament, that is Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act. Later on it was given power under Air Pollution Act also. Initially it was under water, later on it was given powers under Air Pollution Act, and it serves as a field agency providing technical services to Ministry of Environment and Forest under Environment Protection Act. These 3 acts you will study in detail in environment. GS paper 3 में when you will do environment, वहाँ पे these acts will be taught in detail. What are the provision, what are the weakness, what are the issue. But here I am just giving a reference for current affairs purposes. ठीक है? Please remember this body is created under Water Act, not under Air Act. You may think, but it has power under Air Act as well as under Environment Protection Act. Clear? चलिए, reason for air pollution आपको पता है. The biggest culprit, cars are not the biggest culprit in India, they are the trucks and two-wheelers. जो धूम वाली बाइकें तुम चलाते हो, these trucks and two-wheelers are the biggest source of pollution. Plus, हाँ हम भी हैं भाई, मना नहीं कर रहे. Especially before BS6. Right now in India you have something called Bharat Stage 6. It is BS5 and plus. Oh, before. अब BS6 में what you have to cover, environment में वैसे तो पढ़ाया जाएगा, but if not taught, then BS6 में you need to know what are the component of BS6. Please know this. What are the component of BS6? इसमें one component is missing, carbon dioxide. BS6 does not cover carbon dioxide. So prelims में UPSC may ask which of the following element are under BS6. And वहां पे लिखा हुआ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. यू आर लाइक, ओहो, इट इज अ गैस व्हिच क्रिएट ग्लोबल वार्मिंग. पक्का सही आंसर है, गलत है. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ BS6. ठीक है, इसलिए प्लीज नो द, गो होम एंड गूगल दिस. BS6, few points, no excessive detail, just few points. What is BS6, when it was launched, and some component of BS6, and what is not covered under BS6. Okay, please know that. And second thing is, we know farmers in northwest state biannually set fires to their field to clean their land. Straw, something we call in North India called parali. Okay, it is under the rice wheat crop rotation, particularly Punjab and Haryana. Okay, so you have this vehicular pollution creating issue. Second is parali burning or the crop burning, which emit these kind of gases. Next is winters. Winters where something happens that you will also study in geography, known as temperature inversion. As you go away from the surface, the temperature drops. But temperature inversion means something different happens. Temperature inversion means on the surface you have kind of accumulation of pollutants. इसलिए summers में there is no less pollutant because air convection happens. Air convection happens, the pollutant are there, but they emit to the atmosphere and they disperse. But in winters, because there is temperature inversion, the pollutants are unable to leave the surface. इसीलिए if you're in morning you're going for a walk, then you're going for a suicide mission. Literally. Morning में अगर आप walk पे जा रहे हो दिल्ली में, तो you are going on a suicide mission, nothing less than that. Because morning में what happens, in the entire night the entire surface get cooled up. And there is a huge concentration of pollutant. The best time in Delhi to go on a walk is noon. When there is sun, temperature inversion is reversed to a point and some dispersion has happened. Morning and evening में कभी बाहर you do not go on running. चल रहे हो fine है. Running में what happens, you inhale, exhale excessively. You are taking pollutant too much. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? So Delhi में if you have a suicide mission, go on morning and evening walk. Otherwise go on noon walk. ठीक है? Please remember that. अच्छा इधर देखो लास्ट वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंसेस. ठीक है, बाहरी शक्तियों का भी हाथ रहता है इसमें. So western disturbances that comes with the recedal of monsoon from India. When the monsoon recedes, the western disturbance also comes toward India. They bring pollutant as far as Afghanistan. They bring pollutant from as far as Afghanistan towards India. So they are also responsible. So clear reasons for pollution in Delhi particular. The vehicular pollution, particularly trucks and two-wheelers, not cars. Second thing is source of construction and all things are going on. Third, the temperature inversion, natural thing you cannot do much about it. Fourth, the western disturbance, natural thing you cannot do much about it. Out of all these parameters, you can work on only two. The remaining two are natural. इसका आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Winter temperature inversion and western disturbance are beyond your capacity to control. The only two things you can control is vehicular pollution, construction and other pollution, plus this parali burning. Clear everyone? What you can control, cannot. हाँ अभी कर रहे हैं ना, अभी आ रहे हैं नीचे है इसमें efforts में. Government effort, let's see. The first government effort we have is known as pollution coding mechanism, also known as GRAPE. हाँ I think से third start हुआ है शायद, देख लेना जो भी है. तो graded response action plan. अब what is this graded response action plan? Under this we have created some parameters. The more the parameters the pollution air quality violates, the more stricter the actions. जैसे मान लेते stage 1 में we will close some schools and some construction sites. If it gets severe, we will close all construction sites. We will put restriction on vehicular movement, penalize heavily any vehicle who is below BS6. I think ये कर दिया गया है, फिर बंद कर दिया. And we will close this tandoor and whatever you have. ठीक है, they also pollute a lot. These chulas, tandoor you have. So anyway, GRAPE सबको समझ में आया? Graded response. Depending upon the air quality, the more the parameter it violates, the severe will be the response. Clear? This is called GRAPE, sorry. Next, BS6 standards. आपको मैंने बता ही दिया. BS6 standard has been implemented throughout India. Delhi में it was fast forwarded from 2018. So Delhi में it is already in place since 2018, and remaining country में it has come into force by 2020. Next, National Clean Air Program. It was launched in 2019. It's a 5-year action plan to reduce around 20 to 30% in PM 2.5 and PM 10 concentration. ठीक है, ये सोचा था, फिर आपको करना पड़ा विस्ता, जिसमें नई पार्लियामेंट वगैरह बनाई जा रही है. ठीक है, Central Vista. You thought of doing this, then Central Vista came into being. Then you are like politics versus people's health. You're like politics comes first. ठीक है, so you are like let's construct something. Anyway, good idea. तो clear याद रखिएगा. Under National Clean Air Program, the government is having a target of 20 to 30% reduction in PM 2.5 and PM 10 by 2025. And why PM 2.5 and 10 मैंने आपको बता दिया, because they are very damaging to the body, very 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 damaging. PM 2.5 तो even enters in your bloodstream, it is even more damaging. ठीक है. Next, CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board is the executing body, it has to be. Next, देखिए इस पे UPSC asked the question, I think 19 में 20 में they asked in prelims, which of the following statement are true about non-attainment cities. So ऐसे भी कई बार UPSC picks concept out of schemes. What is a non-attainment city? Non-attainment cities are identified by CPCB. Any city which have consistently shown poorer air quality in NAQI, National Air Quality, National Ambient Air Quality Standards. So any city which has shown consistently poor performance in the air quality standard is known as non-attainment city. UPSC directly asked this in prelims. Which of the following statements are true about non-attainment cities? So concepts are very important. Conceptual questions are often asked. Chaliye, anyway, so it has some 3-tier program. So wo action triggering and all dramas are there. Anyway, so some suggestions are being given. Pehla, vacuum cleaning of road, very promising. Vacuum cleaning of, because vehicular traffic jo hota hai, it causes a lot of pollution. You construct, there are a lot of pollutant on the surface, particularly PM 2.5 and PM 10. Then the vehicle flies by, it emits all the, particularly हमारी low flow buses. ठीक है, these low flow buses has engine at the back और पूरा इलाका खराब करती हुई जाती हैं. ठीक है, so but not least here. Next is temporary control on industry and construction. Last आपको पता है new transportation policy. देखिए, the only definite solution I can see is we should ban all private vehicle in Delhi. Delhi में there is a need to ban all private vehicle, any vehicle, be it government or otherwise, except the police vehicle and the ambulances. Everything should be banned, and there should be only public vehicles. और उसके लिए पहले government has to increase public vehicles. आप तुरंत मना नहीं कर सकते हैं. That is, I believe, is the only finite. हाँ, क्या कर दिया? हाँ, buses you are increasing, that's okay, but you have to increase other connectivity also. हर जगह नहीं जाती है ना. अब आपको कई जगह घूमना होता है. घर जाने के लिए आप पहले कहीं से होके जाते हैं, तो कहीं से होके जाने के लिए बस चाहिए हमें. ठीक है, चलिए कोई नहीं. फाइन, क्लियर एवरीवन. प्लीज रिमेंबर, इसमें सम स्कीम्स वी हैव डिस्कस, प्लीज रिमेंबर देम, सम कांसेप्ट प्लीज रिमेंबर. थैंक यू. कैसे अभी टाइम है? क्यों नहीं है? कितने बजे तक क्लास है? 1:30. अभी बहुत टाइम है. नेक्स्ट न्यूज, वियना कन्वेंशन ऑन डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस. A bit interesting news, आपको शायद थोड़ा मजा आ जाए. हाँ, so Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. What is this convention? This convention was signed in the context of Cold War. Cold War was a war between two ideologies. It was not a war between two countries. Ideologies means set of ideas. There were two ideas. One is known as capitalism, one is known as communism or socialism. Both were fighting with each other, and that is called Cold War. Clear this much? A Cold War time में there was a concern. If I have some official, मान लेते हैं I am America, I have some official in Russia. So Russian agencies harasses them. And when Russian officers are in America, I used to harass them. So it was a problem, a severe problem. So ultimately we agreed on a convention known as Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. Under this convention, all diplomats are immune from domestic laws. Immune. मान लेते हैं there is a diplomat who killed some Indian during road rage. So he cannot be prosecuted under Indian laws. India can only demand the मैंने कौन सी गवर्नमेंट बोली? पता नहीं, जो भी गवर्नमेंट है, मान लेते कनेडियन पर्सन, वी डोंट लाइक देम वेरी मच नाउअडेज. If a Canadian person kills an Indian person on Indian ground, Canadian person means the Canadian diplomat, not a common citizen, diplomat. So they cannot be prosecuted under Indian laws. For that, we will have to appeal to Canada to prosecute that person under attempt to murder or whatever is the laws of Canada. But we can do something called persona non grata. Persona non grata means we say we do not want this person anymore on Indian soil. Same thing happened here. इसी को हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. What happened recently is India Canada, आपको पता ही है, after the execution of this Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Sikh extremist, our diplomatic relations have nosedived, clearly nosedived, particularly when the Prime Minister of Britain, Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, he in Parliament of Canada gave a statement that Indian agents are behind killing of this person. अब हो भी सकते हैं, नहीं भी, who knows, but it was a big thing because understand the world politics is going in a different direction. India is moving toward the west against China because we consider China as the biggest threat to our sovereignty. So we are joining the Western Bloc, particularly you know them by the name Quad, Quadrilateral Security Group. Quad mein you have US, you have Japan, Australia and India. So Modi government is moving toward west against China. And now you have a coalition in the world in which these four countries are together, which also means Canada. Because Canada and USA are inseparable. Understand this. Canada and USA are literally inseparable. Anything, any relation you have with USA automatically reflects with Canada. USA is in a problem also. Because USA wants India against China. We want USA against China. Because of Canada, the relations are getting bad. Because USA is very concerned. If USA take India's side, the Canada will be angry, and Canada is always his friend. And if it takes Canada's side, then India and USA may not have very good relations. So USA is taking a medium position here, saying if something wrong has gone, please investigate. उससे ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं बोल रहा वो. सबको समझ आ रहा है what is the compulsion here? Now we have to understand what is the problem. Convention सबको समझ में आया? Vienna Convention provides absolute diplomatic immunity to the diplomats, including some immunity to the consulates. Even diplomats' houses are covered here. मान लेते हैं the Saudi diplomat. A case happened in Delhi. There was a Saudi Arabian diplomat. That person was having some sexual slave from Nepal. There was a Nepali woman. He was keeping a sexual slave in his house. अब प्रॉब्लम ये थी the local policeman, उन्हें पता ही नहीं था. अब इतना पढ़े होते तो बात ही क्या थी. अब the local policeman had no idea about the Vienna Convention. So some NGO went to that local police station and said that this is a person belonging to Saudi Arabia and all. This person is having some woman from Nepal as sexual slaves. अब पुलिस वाले घुस गए घर में. अब it became a diplomatic incident. अब देखिए दोनों के लिए insecurity थी. India, because India was just, because we rescued those women there. But India violated Vienna Convention. But Saudi Arabia did not make a fuss out of it. Obviously बात थी, because Saudi Arabian diplomat was having some sexual slaves. तो अब वो कैसे बोलता? But it was an incident. Understand, they violated Vienna Convention. It is so secure. If somebody is doing in their house whatever they can do, no local law applies. It is that much of immunity. And इसीलिए most of the consulate and embassies, they are used for spy work. Spy work होता कहाँ से देशों के बीच में? वहीं से होता है सारा वर्क. Because वहाँ पे immunity होती है, जो चाहे करो. बात समझ में आया? That diplomatic incident happened with India. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Since Nijjar case, Canada has blamed India, and as a retaliation, Canada expelled Indian diplomats. So we also expelled Canadian diplomats. यहाँ समझ में आया? Now let us come to India-Canada relation quickly. TTCT पढ़ लेना यार आप लोग. ये रहा India-Canada relations. Since 2015, India-Canada are now strategic partners. Remember this, India-Canada are now strategic partners. And Indian diaspora constitute around 3.6% of Canadian population. And energy front में we have a nuclear energy. ठीक है? Canada has a large nuclear energy reserves, uranium particularly. It also has a large reserves of oil and gases. I think Alaska में it has, Alaska कह रहा हूँ, the northern part, the frozen part पे. ठीक है? Apart from this, we have a bilateral agreement to provide market access. सबको समझ आया? We have an agreement regarding market access. We have a nuclear agreement. ठीक है? Particularly, we are trying to find. Please remember this name as it is. UPSC asked directly that this agreement is among which countries. So remember these name as it is. Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Among which countries it is in? India and Canada. We are negotiating this agreement as of now. It has not been enacted. We are negotiating. Second agreement is Bilateral Investment Promotion and Protection Agreement. Remember the name as it is. UPSC may ask directly in prelims. अरे यही तो है FTA. FTA is a broader term. FTA means free trade agreement. It's a vast term. It means you have a free trade. The name of the agreement can be anything. जैसे बोलते हैं लॉस का मतलब होता है जनरल कंडीशन. अब लॉस तो कई प्रकार के होते हैं. Similarly, this is the FTA which we are negotiating. Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. This is the name of FTA between India and Canada. We are currently negotiating. Second is BIPPA. Clear this much? Next. अब this is most important. Security. Security front में security front में we have Sikh extremism is a big issue. Why? Trudeau. Understand a problem. जैसे मैंने आपको थोड़ी देर पहले समझाया था context of Modi and Rajiv Gandhi. Same understand here. You cannot angry your vote bank. A Canadian Prime Minister depends on Sikh vote. He even had a Defense Minister of Canada is a Sikh. He has a lot of Sikh people as the Minister of Cabinet. अब for him, देखिए हमारे लिए this person could be a terrorist, but for Canada these person are not terrorists. Similar logic applies. I have always told you terrorism is a very subjective term. It depends where you stand. A same person can be a terrorist, same person can be a freedom fighter. For example, the people in Jammu Kashmir fighting against Indian government, they are terrorists for us, but they are patriot for Pakistan. The people fighting in Balochistan against Pakistan government are patriot for us, but terrorist for Pakistan. Same Hamas ka logic. Hamas may be a terrorist organization for Israel, but for majority of the Arab world, they are freedom fighters fighting against an oppressive regime. Same things can go on. Same problem is here. Trudeau depends upon the Sikh support for his government survival. And India, of course, do not like them because they are advocating a separate Sikh state, Khalistan. India is very angry over this, and it has been since long. The biggest irritant between India and Canada is only one. Whereas there used to be two. One was nuclear issue, second was Sikh extremism. But nuclear issue problem is done now because 2005 we signed an agreement with America, Civil Nuclear Defense Agreement, after which Canada we signed an agreement. So nuclear energy pe there is no big dispute. The only irritant between India and Canada is Sikh extremism. And it has happened, I think, during Indira Gandhi times of when there was a bombing on Indian airline, which killed around 300 something people. We asked the Canadian government to extradite a person. They did not. It always happens. This always happens. So, iska we have to worry. But still, Trudeau himself has said that Canada is committed to United India and is serious about cracking down extremism. Moreover, we have signed this framework on cooperation on countering terrorism and violent extremism. So, isko I will discuss detail mein even later. Now come to strategic fund. Strategic fund mein maine aapko batai diya. We need Canada. Canada need us vis-a-vis China. And China's expanding claim everywhere. South China Sea, East China Sea, everywhere China's expanding claim we need, particularly China. Okay, China's Arctic claim. China claiming everything under the sun nowadays. Okay, so we are worried about that. Issues mein, I told you there are two main irritants. Irritant number one, the main irritant between India and Canada is, irritant number one is nuclear issue. And why it became an irritant? Because we are very good people. Cyrus. Canada and India jointly stalled a uranium reactor. A problem here was when we were doing nuclear testing, we diverted material secretly from Canadian plant. हमने secretly we diverted a material in we carried out nuclear explosion in 1974, Operation Smiling Buddha or Pokhran 1. Canada got very angry. You promised something, you did something else. But this angriness was as long as we did not sign an agreement with USA. So lastly, we signed the agreement, and we have signed nuclear cooperation agreement in 2010 with Canada. So this is no longer an issue, but this Sikh extremism is continuing. Ab now understand why. Some recent event that is the biggest concern. Number one, he is the strongest supporter of Sikh, because I told you his government depends upon Sikh vote. Sikh may be less, 3.6, but they are concentrated in constituencies, and they are very affluent in Canada, very affluent, and his government depends upon Sikh vote. So they may be terrorists for Indians, for us, but for him they are the necessary evil. Just for example, I told you some people who kill Muslims just because they eat something. Modi does not like them, but he is under compulsion to tolerate the necessary evil. Usko pata hai bring bad press, and this is what Chetan Bhagat, that B-grade novelist. So that Chetan Bhagat basically he said this, that problem with Modi government is there are two kind of Hindutva people in India right now. One is extreme, one is moderate. Of these extremist people, which are very few, they do some events which embarrasses the government, but the government is under compulsion. It cannot call them out because they are also the strongest supporter. You may think twice for voting this government, but they will never think twice to vote this government. इस context में how come देखिए my government runs on some people support, और these are the strongest support I have. आप लोगों का क्या भरोसा कल वोट दो ना दो, वो हमेशा मुझे वोट करने वाले हैं. Same is the problem here. They may be a problem for us, but for Trudeau, he depends too much on their vote bank power, their money power, their muscle power. ठीक है? And because of this, he even had a defense minister, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया. He made a Sikh a defense minister of Canada. Above this, the Canadian Parliament passed a law calling 1984 massacre as a genocide. Above this, Indian government official cannot enter into any Canadian Gurdwara. Plus, Trudeau even attended Khalsa Day parade. All these events highlights that government of Canada is strongly in support of the Sikh people. But understand, I told you, it's a compulsion of the government because of electoral vote bank politics. सबको समझ में आया? Clear everyone? So this is the only irritant India and Canada has as of now. बाकी तो कोई खास हमारा issue है नहीं किसी भी चीज को लेके. Now let us see some opinion I have given you. K.C. Singh wrote an article. He was a former diplomat or something. He has given some suggestions how to deal with this. He said that the Khalistan issue sometimes get exaggerated by the Modi government security dominated assessment. What is this security dominated assessment? I told you there is something called strongman dilemma. Strongman dilemma. When you project a particular image, you cannot back off. Sometimes होता है ना, you take a high moral ground, you are like, मैं इससे नीचे नहीं जाएगा कभी. For example, you take a moral high ground, I will never take a bribe. You get into service, first day you have to take a bribe. तो जिस वजह से जिससे आपने मजाक, the person who had a verbal dispute कि I will be the upright honest person, अब उसको शकल कैसे दिखाई जाए? ठीक है? तो sometimes क्या होता है, you are in a dilemma. You have projected an image which puts you in a condition you cannot be flexible. You literally, a lot of people who keep on preparing for civil services, the reason is they are in a dilemma. They projected themselves कि भाई I will become IAS, nothing less than that. अब आप फंस गए. If you go lesser than that, people like कहाँ गए भाई, क्या हुआ? A lot of people who keep on preparing, if you ask them, they never try for any service, सिर्फ except IAS. सारे टाइम दे 6 साल 7 साल 8 साल 10 साल. They keep on giving IAS attempt. They do not go for lesser services. They do not go for state. They do not for any service. Why? Dilemma. The image you projected, now you are fixed to that. Same understand strongman dilemma. This is what is highlighting. Modi government has projected himself as a strong person who take decisive action on terrorism. Just for example, Pakistan. We are not talking with Pakistan since Modi government, because Modi government says talks and terrorism cannot go together. Current policy in Pakistan is talks and terrorism cannot go together. So we say first you stop terrorist event, then we will talk. They will say start talking, terrorist event may stop. But मैंने आपको समझाया था, it will never stop, because this terrorist event from Pakistan are not to hurt Indian but to destroy the talks. You notice this pattern. Whenever India Pakistan start talks, something happens. Always it happens, because there are some elements in Pakistan, particularly Pakistani army, who never want to have good relations with India. Why? Because they capture majority of Pakistan's resource. If Pakistan has 100 rupees, 80 rupees are captured by Pakistani army. And why? Because they say we have to fight with India. If they do not have India as an enemy, then the people of Pakistan will say, why you need for 80 rupees? Give 80 rupees to us, keep 10 rupees. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? Some people, because their power, their politics, their capture of resource in a country runs only because they have an enemy. If that enemy become friend, तो your usefulness goes. होते हैं कुछ लोग ग्रुप में who want to maintain the intermediary status. कहीं भी लड़ाई होगी वो बंदा बीच में खड़ा होगा, वो पैच करवाता है लोगों को. He keep on having the dispute. अगर dispute नहीं होंगे ग्रुप में तो who will care about him or her? सबको समझ में आया? The same is the problem here. That is what he is saying. Modi government is in a strongman dilemma. They have to take strong action, very, very, very strong action. And small incidents on security front, Modi government respond disproportionately. और डिप्लोमेसी में मैंने आपको हमेशा समझाया, you should always have flexibilities. अमेरिका को देखो, अमेरिका country which created mujahideen, who fought in Afghanistan against USSR. American president shot photos. Mujahideens were present with American president in American office, and he called them freedom fighter in front of press. But those very same people, when attacked America in 2001, America called them terrorists, and war on terror started. America में चीज़ देखिए, they are very flexible. They change their policy according to the demand. They do not in a dilemma कि भाई we call them freedom fighter, कल मैं terrorist बोल रहा हूँ, people will call me hypocrite. America says fine, I am hypocrite, I don't care. I do what my country need. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? Diplomacy में you should never have strong positions. You should always have a flexibility. So according to the circumstances, you can go a bit back, a bit forward. That is the point he is trying to refer. Clear? Point number one. Point number second, he says the MOEA need to have a outreach to Sikh diaspora as soon as possible and try to appoint a Sikh ambassador in Canada. More community harmony and all dramas. Clear suggestions? बाकी ये कन्वेंशन कुछ साइन हुए हैं वेना में, इनको एक बार देख लेना. काउंसिल रिलेशंस पे हैं, आपका सक्सेशन ऑफ स्टेट्स पे है. जस्ट गो थ्रू देम वंस. चलो भाई लास्ट न्यूज देख लेते हैं. हमारे प्यारे सर सैयद अहमद खान. सर सैयद अहमद खान, the so-called founder of two-nation theory that divided India. हाँ, उसके पीछे यही बंदा है, ठीक है. And Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, basically, two-nation theory. What was the theory? The theory was that Hindus and Muslims are two different communities, cannot live together. On this theory, you got Pakistan. But understand difference. Idea of Pakistan is two nations theory. Hindu Muslim are two different community, cannot live together. Idea of India is not two nation theory. Idea of India is Vasudeva Kutumbakam. That is, the world is one. Civic nationalism, yes, the difference between cultural and civic. That is what happened when Pakistan was created. There were some people, आप आज भी देखेंगे, particularly from a party, they say we committed a mistake. अभी recent में एक आया बंदे का, he said we committed a big mistake. The all Muslims, when they got a land, we should have told them to go to Pakistan. ये गड़बड़ होती ही नहीं फिर कभी. नाम वाम नहीं ले, वो अभी जेल नहीं जाना किसी को यहाँ, ठीक है. IAS बन लेते पहले, ठीक है. उसके बाद फिर वैसे भी आप बोल नहीं पाओगे. ये भी सही है, अभी बोल लो. चलिए, सो यहां तक समझ में आया. तो पाकिस्तान इज फाउंडेड ऑन टू नेशंस थ्योरी. इंडिया इज फाउंडेड ऑन द आइडिया ऑफ वासुदेव कुटुंबकम. We said even though Pakistan has been created, India has been divided in the name of religion. India is not a nation for Hindus. It is a nation for anyone who wants to be Indian. Example, a मान लेते हैं an American, a US citizen comes to India, lives in India, works in India, has a family in India. So according to this definition, he is as Indian as you and I. फर्क समझ में आ रहा दोनों में? One is cultural, that a community is a nation. One is civic, that anyone living on this land, believing in this land, eating in this land, dying in this land is the part of this land. There are only two countries in the world that were made on two nations theory. That were made on religion basis: Israel and Pakistan. That was a ploy that was played. Pakistan, when was created, majority of the Arab world supported, including Western countries, the so-called America and Urdu. Why they supported? For Israel. When Pakistan was created on religion basis, then Israel was created on religion basis. Then they said to the Arab world, you are opposing Israel, but you supported Pakistan. समझ में how the game was played. They, और एक और याद रखिएगा, nobody wanted, ऐसा नहीं है only Jinnah wanted to divide India. Nobody in this world wanted unified India. Why they do not want? Because they knew a unified India can be the next superpower. They intentionally divided India so that India will remain engaged within itself. The reason of dividing India was two. First, strategic purpose. Strategic purpose was, if India remains united, it will be a big land with big population, big military and big everything. So it could claim the status of a superpower. Something China can claim, because China को ऐसा dispute नहीं है कोई भी. That's why India was divided into two parts. Now it is, there are two Indias. They आपस में लड़ते रहेंगे. They will not have the time to lead the world. So कुछ हमारा strategic purpose, please remember that. Now come to Sayyid Ahmad Khan. He is the founder of two nation theory. How he became? Initially, he was a very strong proponent of unity of Hindus and Muslims. Initially, हर कोई होता. For example, Jinnah को Sarojini Naidu once called ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity in India. Sarojini Naidu once called Jinnah that he is the ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity in India. Because when he came newly, होता ना कि एक बार you meet a new person, you wrong judge them. You're like, ये तो सबसे बढ़िया व्यक्ति है. But that person turns out to be the worst person you can ever meet. So anyway, so initially he used to say that Hindus and Muslims are the two beautiful eyes of a bride called India. From there he moved to that Hindus and Muslims are two communities who cannot live together. And when it happened after Hindi-Urdu controversy in UP. UP में there was a debate to which should be the official language of United Provinces. Today you call Uttar Pradesh. What should be the official language of United Provinces? At that point of time, the hatred that was seen by both communities, people who advocated Hindi and people who advocated Urdu. So he became convinced after that controversy that Hindus and Muslims are two communities, cannot live together. So before Hindu-Urdu controversy, he was a supporter of Hindu-Muslim unity. After that controversy, he became strongest advocate of two nations theory. चेंज समझ में आया? अब जल्दी से देखते हैं क्या क्या कर रहा है. He was recently in news because his death anniversary or whatever was there. So he also founded Anglo-Mohammedan Oriental College, something today you call Aligarh Muslim University. His political views, he laid the intellectual groundwork and institutional groundwork for Muslim modernization in South Asia. Same what Dada Bhai Naroji did for Parsis. Same R.M. Roy did for Hindus, Pandit Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar. He is also part of the reformist. Everyone tried to reform their communities. He found something backwardness, he tried to reform. He wrote something, he had a literary journey starting 23 साल से उसने बकैती शुरू करी थी. Authoring the notable work, Monuments of Great, which explored the antiquities in Delhi and all, starting with that. The first thing that people often call him, why people criticize him, particularly the right-wingers in India, because he urged Muslim to serve. But that is the same thing Ambedkar said to the Dalits. I told you, Ambedkar did not want Britishers to leave India. He was of the opinion if Britishers leave India, then the Dalits will be at the mercy of Brahmins. The same was the reason he was saying Muslims to support Britishers. Or to your surprise, even there is a party I cannot name, they also believed in two-nation theory. ये अकेले नहीं थे. The Hindu side, Hindu Mahasabha you call it, they were the also believer of हमेशा याद रखिए, देखिए these people ना, they empower each other. These radicals on all sides, they empower each other. मान लेते हैं a Muslim radical will give a statement, radical statement. That statement is not of the entire community, but you will capture that in video, and that will give a reason to the Hindu radical to give a statement. So एक Muslim radical की statement will empower the Hindu radical. A Hindu radical statement empowers the Muslim radical. They empower each other. They do not empower the people who talks about peace and harmony. Never they do this. ठीक है, understand this. So he advocated Muslims to support British Raj faithfully. So that party that I'm talking about, they also advocated the Hindu to support British Raj faithfully. They are like, if you do not support the British Raj, then Britishers will penalize you, and they will promote whom? Muslims. So you will be backward. Don't do this. Don't follow Congress. Don't believe in Congress. Support British Raj so that you can get better position in British government. Become IAS officer of British government. ठीक है, clear this much? Next, he wrote an essay on the causes of Indian revolt, because Britishers blamed the Indian revolt 1857 on Muslims. Britishers का मानना था it was Muslims who were the prime reason of the revolt of 1857, and after that they instituted policy to demotivate Muslims and promote Hindus. उसी के बाद से आप नोटिस करेंगे 1857 के बाद से Britishers started to promote Hindus in India, and but within Hindus they brought a concept called martial race. आज भी आर्मी में जो रेजिमेंट्स है ना, इसी नाम पे बने हुए हैं. They promoted that there are some caste in Hinduism which are born fighters. Those are called martial race. You have not Jat regiment, that regiment. These were made on the idea of martial race. This is the policy of divide and rule. So they divided two times. First, they promoted Hindus against Muslims, believing that this revolt was by Hindus. Then within Hindus, they promoted certain caste and tagged them with the tag of martial race, a fighter or a warrior caste. Clear? These two divisions. So he wrote a book to explain to the Britishers that Muslims did not revolted against you. It was some of your policies that were the reason. ठीक है, clear? Education work. Sayyid Ahmad Khan, आपको पता है, he fought against this superstition and ignorance in the Muslim society. He even founded the Gulshan school and whatever, Victoria school after that. He translated a lot of things. Now you have something called Scientific Society of Aligarh. They translated a lot of English works in other languages. ये मैंने आपको बता दिया. After Hindu-Urdu controversy of 1867, from a champion of unity, he became a champion of division. And Jinnah basically took inspiration from him. His argument was what Jinnah over time perfected to a political tone. He even imagined something called, because he was inspired by Renaissance. मैंने आपको समझाया था, modernity is a gift of Christianity. Christianity में there was a Renaissance that is called rebirth of critical reasoning, where the Christianity is decided we will place individual at the center and will build the society around individual. The society will not dictate the individual will dictate the society, how I want to live my life. So he was so inspired by this idea, he thought I should have a Muslim Cambridge to promote this Renaissance idea in Islam. बेचारा लिंच हो जाता किसी दिन, अच्छा वो मर गया. Next thing, Tazibul Akhlaq you have, whatever this was, his views on women empowerment. जल्दी देख के खत्म करते हैं. So initially he had a conservative views. He advocated that women education should be focused only on family duties, and believing that educated women are hindrance to their primary responsibility, that is marriage. सही बात है बिल्कुल, ठीक है. Because educated women demand a lot of things, so इसलिए उन्हें पढ़ाओ मत. So understand, I have always told you what, मैंने आपको क्या बताया, your views are a culmination of your upbringing. The society you are born, the community you are born, the teachers you get, they influence your mind and they dictate your mind. A lot of decisions or a lot of beliefs you have are not your beliefs, they are given by you. Then ऐसा क्यों नहीं होता, a kid born to a Hindu family start worshipping Allah? Why he worship God only? Why a person born to Muslim family start worshipping Jesus? Why he worship Allah only? Because family gives you religion. You are born, then they gives you. We believe in Allah, Islam or whatever. So we gave you that. Family always gives you. तो भाई ये आसमान से तो आया नहीं था. That's why I told you that Supreme Court वाली बात पे. Nobody came from heaven. We all are the product of this society itself. We all have same biases, same understanding this society have. Some people may be a bit evolved. The RM Roy type of people, they may be ahead of time, but majority of population is always behind time or at time. So this was not, he believed, but was believe in Islam also, but he changed. When you change, when you meet me, then you change. Then you have revolutionary ideas. Then you find problem fitting in your families. कि यार आप तो backward बातें करते हो. ठीक है? Understand what change when you have a different exposure. You get somebody to tell you something you took for granted. Same thing happened with him when he visited Europe, and when he saw the woman enjoying liberty there, it changed his perspective forever. From a person advocating no education for women and advocating only family duties for women, he became a champion of Muslim women education. He rejected women's education within Muslim community contribute to decline. There was a perception, जो आज भी बहुत families में है, that educated woman often leads to decline of family, because when they are educated, आप बोलोगे job करनी है, खाना नहीं बनाना है. समझ में आ रहा? तो अभी भी है ऐसा perception. So he believed in the same thing, but when he went to Europe, he saw a different world. और यही reason आप समझिए. देखिए, he was fortunate he could go to Europe. But आज के लोग तो जा नहीं सकते. So Europe has come to you through your phones. मैंने आपको समझाया था why revolution is coming, why individualism is increasing, why around the country people are demanding my rights, because the European values, जिसके लिए you have to go to Europe and get those values. You do not have to go Europe now. All you have to do is have a mobile, have internet, some Amazon or Prime subscription. Some Amazon Prime subscription, some Netflix है. ये देखो, ठीक है, रील्स ही काफी है, ठीक है, पर रील्स में मैंने आपको बताया था, they create disproportionate expectations. They create they are the reason for a lot of divorces. ठीक है, disproportionate expectations. चलिए, anyway, सबको समझ में आया? So this radically transformed his view and he became a champion of women education. So you will remember few parts. So Syed Ahmad Khan is a prime example of one thing. Everyone has a Satan and God in them. ऐसा नहीं है, nobody is perfect. और everyone in their life may have done something they are not very proud of. कुछ भी हो सकता है, छोटा या बड़ा, doesn't matter. We all do those kind of things. So that is why I always say nobody is above criticism. The day you put somebody above criticism, तो आपने अपना demise तय कर लिया है. ठीक है? Clear? तो प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस एग्जांपल, कहीं भी कोट कर देना. कुछ और भी बचा है क्या इसमें? चलो भैया, कर पे डिजिटल इंडिया बिल, ये ऐसी में डाला था, कल पे पढ़ लेना. चलिए, बाय बाय देन, वी विल मीट अगेन टुमारो. क्वालिटी वाले वगैरह वगैरह अदर बैचेस भी है ना. या जय हिंदुस्तानी. यस, वेरी वेलकम अदिति. बाय बाय, मिलते हैं फिर.
Sir, I wanted to ask about coalition government and strongman government. Please explain it a bit more.
Okay, Ashneet, we have a polity class ना. हाँ, तो polity class में मंडे में होगी ना. Please write that down. Polity class में पूछना, ठीक है? I will explain in detail.
Okay, sir.
ठीक है, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.